You better watch yourself, buddy boy.
Chris.
Yep. My first podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Yeah, I knew this looked familiar. I was actually eating over here the other day, and I was wondering what the Chronicle was. So.
Well, there's all the newspapers there.
Okay.
And the TV's usually like playing the TV show. And this is kind of a new venture. You would be like, I guess, number 5 or something?
Ah, truly honored.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That's very southern, right? In the south of America, like everyone's like, ma'am and sir.
Yeah, I got called out on that on my travels a lot so far. They're like, oh, we knew exactly where you're from, all because of yes, sir, no, ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Tell us about home.
I mean, it's a pretty broad question.
What's your hometown like?
Oh, Fort Worth. It's great. It's I always call it the biggest, smallest city that you can live in.
When you say that, how many people?
I mean, I would say the population DFW is well into the millions, but it's just in Fort Worth, it's such a big area, but it's really tight knit communities.
Sounds like Oakland.
Yeah, my family was really big into the real estate and downtown, so everyone kind of knew who we were, and which opened up a lot of doors for me growing up. So.
Where's this in Texas?
North Texas. So Fort Worth is probably about 45 minutes away from the Oklahoma border. Yeah.
Have you done much traveling?
I started traveling. It's actually kind of funny. I started traveling because I worked in oil and gas, and then the oil and gas industry, as I'm sure you've probably heard, is always up and down.
Usually up.
Yeah, well, usually it seems like for me it was always down, but
what your pay versus how much we're paying for it?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a little bit cheaper back home, but 2017, the oil industry took a hit.
Yeah, those poor oil barons.
Well, a lot of us contractors,
they lost millions from their billions.
You're not wrong. I didn't get any of those millions. I know that.
They're driving last year's jet.
Yeah, no. 2017, it went down. I had my friend Elizabeth. She had just done a year in Australia, and she came out to our ranch, and we were talking. And
ranch.
Yeah, and she was like, "Yeah, you should do it." And I was like, "You know what? Sure, why not?"
Do what?
So, go travel, take a gap year, kind of like, go travel for the year, working holiday visa. So I went down to Australia, fell in love with it, ended up extending my visa.
Really?
Yes.
What's to love? I mean, do you have a thing for gum trees or something?
Dude, he's from Texas. Come on. How different is it?
Come to Australia. See our rock. It's a fucking rock.
Hey, I had the day that I got to go and I have like a pet like kangaroo or wallaby sitting in my lap. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stay here.
Yeah.
I was like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
I got to hold a koala once. It was stinky and smelly and just like awful.
yeah, you got to be careful with those things. Like,
They got herpes or something.
Chlamydia.
Chlamydia.
Yeah.
I am definitely not fucking a koala.
If you get chlamydia from a koala, you've got bigger problems, I tell you.
It's so funny. They call them. I always thought that the term drop bear was fake. And
It is, right?
Well, that's what I thought. But the way that my one of my buddies was like, koalas are the only animal that can eat eucalyptus, and then they basically get high off of it, and they will fall out of a tree. So I was like, I'm gonna take everything you're saying with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But I could see it. You're just walking through the bush, and boom, koala.
Yeah. And if they scratch you, you'd be like, I've got chlamydia. I'm sorry.
Hey, that's no joke though, because like you asked me where else I travel. I went to Thailand. And we're like,
Thailand's amazing. I love Thailand.
Well, we went to Monkey Island, and I was sitting there. Everyone else is feeding the monkeys.
Did you get monkeypox?
No, everyone else is feeding the monkeys.
Yeah.
No drama. And I don't know if it was my cowboy hat that just pissed this thing off or whatever. But all I know is that thing freaked out on me, scratched me on my side, and like,
Whoa.
you know, he went to try to have a go at me, and my buddies were like, "Oh, you know, there's more rabies on this island than anywhere else." So they're like, "You need to go to the hospital." I was like, "I'm not going to a Thai hospital." And I walk in, nobody's wearing shirts, nobody's wearing shoes. I was like, "Nope, I'm good." I was like, "I'll take the rabies."
Wait, isn't rabies incurable?
Oh no, you have to get injections, and it's like 15 different injections right into your abdomen.
We don't have rabies in
Yeah.
New Zealand.
They don't have it in Australia
We
either.
don't have anything like they have in Australia. Like, our worst thing is the caterpillar. Might make you a bit sick.
Yeah.
You know,
I was looking at my buddy's backyard. It was like early the other day, a couple of days ago, and he's got 4 different spiders on a bush, and he's like, "Oh, that one will just make you a little sick. That one will put you in the hospital. This one will do this." And I was like, "Why am I here?"
Yeah. What doesn't kill you in Australia?
Isn't it amazing, like, two nations so close together? And, you know, I mean, look at the tectonic plates. We must have been connected at some stage. And it's like they have everything that wants to eat you, kill you, sting you, bite you. We have nothing. Nothing.
Just people. So, Chris, how'd you end up on K Road?
Well, it was my second day in New Zealand, and I was checking into my hostel, and I was walking by Saloon Bar. I saw they're like, "Hey, you know, we're hiring." I was like, "You know what? Why not?" Need to find a job. I went in there, and I was talking to...
You're like a geologist or something by trade, aren't you?
Geoscience with a minor in petroleum land management.
Right.
So
You're surveying the land of K Road, and you saw Saloon Bar.
basically. Well, no, I was walking by and I was like, "Saloon Bar, perfect. I'm a cowboy, right? Like,
Right.
I'm from Texas, so..."
Were you wearing the cowboy hat then?
No, I wish
Okay.
I would have been. But I was talking to... we always call her Mother. I can't think of her actual name.
Oh, Annette. She's lovely.
Yeah,
Love
Annette.
Annette.
Yeah, and...
Bit of a plug while we're on Annette. Saloon, sponsors, drink there, because, you know, helping them helps the Chronicle.
Happy hour is 4 to 7, $6 beers.
4 to 7, $6 beers.
Anyway, so you met Mother Annette.
Yeah, Mother Annette. That's actually the best way to put it. And we got to talking, and then next thing I knew, I met Rashad.
Yeah, Rashad.
And he gave me a chance on Friday, and you know, I just busted my ass, and you know, I got to know everybody, and we all got along great, and they gave me the chance and the opportunity, and I'm truly blessed for that. You know, like, you know, not a lot of people just walk in and hire
Oh,
somebody.
look, they're
so,
screaming out for hospo staff everywhere now.
Yeah.
How long you been here now?
So I flew into New Zealand on November 23rd.
Welcome to New Zealand.
Yeah, I love it. I really don't want to go back.
So, I think most of our migrants are like that. Eh? They come here
Yeah.
for a holiday. It's like, they want to go home.
Yeah.
What, do you get a working visa?
Oh, yeah, working visa.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is that difficult?
No, actually, it was same thing for Australia too. When I filled out the visa for Australia for my holiday visa, I got a response within 24 hours. Hey,
Shit.
approved.
How old are you?
I'm 34 now.
Oh, and I thought there was like an age limit. Some countries they're like
so
29, 31.
So there is, but when I turned 30, I filled out the visa for New Zealand, and then of course COVID hit. So I had I was like, you know, there's no way I'm going to be able to go unless I just go on a holiday. And then in July last year, I got an email, and it was like, "Hey, this is New Zealand government. Do you want us to approve it
Shit.
or like process it?" And I was like, "Well, yeah."
Hey,
of
that's
course I
pretty
do."
cool of them to hold that and be like, "Look, I'm sorry we took 3 years to get back to
Exactly.
you, but the answer is yes."
And like I was like, you know, I was still like a little bit on edge. Like I was like, you know, maybe I shouldn't. You know, I got a good job here and everything. Like maybe I should just hold off and just go visit for a holiday. Then I looked at a flight, and it was $430 direct flight from
That's
Dallas
amazing.
Fort Worth to
American
here. And I was like,
434.
yeah, 430, and then I was like, you know what? That's a sign. I was like, because every other time I looked at prices, it was like $1,400 a ticket. When I saw that $430 ticket, I was like, you know what? Boom, book it. Deal with everything later.
I gotta ask you, like, yeah, you're working at Saloon Bar. Is Saloon Bar the only bar on K Road that's like open till 4 in the morning? It's like the
Yeah.
latest open
Yeah, it
bar.
is.
Yeah.
But what's it like working there?
Oh, it's amazing. I love the culture. I definitely do. It's got a great mix of people. Coming from Texas, there's some things that I had to get used to.
Like what?
Well, I didn't like. We don't really have a lot of openly gay bars in Texas. It's just not a very common thing.
So where do the puffs go in Texas?
Well, there is a lot in Dallas. Dallas does have a very large, actually one of the largest gay communities in the U.S. I know a lot of people think it's California, but I didn't know that either about Dallas.
I always thought it was San Francisco, but yeah, what do I know?
Well, that is one of the bigger ones, but Dallas is one of the biggest ones as well. And but like it's just not something.
So what Saloon Bar reminds you of Dallas?
Well, I didn't really spend a lot of time in those areas in Dallas, but but yeah, it was definitely it was definitely a change for me personally. But once you get to know everybody and just realize that this is just a great community, and everyone always assumes like, oh, you're from Texas, you got to be some kind of a bigot or something like that.
Are you not?
Not if you're on K Road, man.
Not if you're on K Road, but it's definitely opened my eyes up and realized how great the community is here and how close everybody is and how fun everybody is. And I wouldn't trade it. Like honestly, I really wouldn't. It's like I said, it's a blessing I got to be here. It's a blessing that I get to work with work with all the bar staff.
So what are the things that have like popped out to you that as locals and Kiwis we might not really appreciate?
How so? What do you mean?
Well, you're from America, a completely different culture, still a westernized culture, obviously. And
What's the good things about K Road?
yeah, the things
Good
that,
things about
things
K-Road.
that you things that go, oh, that's different, or
that's a really kind of a tough question.
I'm here for the tough questions.
Yeah.
This is serious journalism.
I would say the things that open up to me is definitely the culture. The culture is definitely a lot different, and not just in the gay community, but in the Maori culture in itself.
Have you learned how to do a haka yet?
It's funny you asked me that. I was in Rotorua, and we went to one of the Maori villages, and they asked somebody to get up on stage to present our tribe to the chief. And I was like, everyone in our little tour group was like, "Oh, Tex, you got to do it. You got to do it." So I was like, raised my hand. I got up there, and she was like, "You're the second Texan in a row that's come up here." And I was like, "Well, I guess we got to prove something. I don't know." Maybe.
What'd you do?
Absolutely nothing. I stood there. They did the haka in front of me, and one of the warriors kind of came up to me to basically challenge me, and then they present a leaf on the ground, and you pick up the leaf and you back up, make sure you don't lose eye contact. It's a very serious part of their culture.
Yeah.
And then you stand in front of the chief and you give like basically a respectful speech, and that's pretty much it.
And then pretty much sing a song.
Well, they sing a song.
Yeah,
right?
it's always gotta be a
You could
song.
have challenged them back.
But-
You could have, the stars at night.
Night are deep and bright, back in the heart of Texas.
Oh, you missed the clap.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that the most important part?
Yeah. No, but I would say, you even though you don't see that side of the culture on K Road, there are so many people that are Maori here, and like
I love the way you say Maori.
Am I saying it correctly now?
No, you're not, but I'm not going to correct you.
Yeah, at least
Through
you're
their
not saying
culture,
marry.
yeah. Mary.
Yeah. Tell me though, what is the K Road of Texas?
Ooh, man, there could be a couple. Austin has something called 6th Street.
6th
Sounds
Street.
like my kind of
Oh my
place.
That sounds like your kind of place, right? 6. Now, the 6th Street gets a little wild. It's, that's where the University of Texas is, and they basically, on the weekends, they basically shut down the road. They actually put roadblocks,
We should
and
do
it's
that.
like a big, gigantic
That's
block
great. I
party.
love the sound.
Everyone's going out.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. Like, there's no cars in the middle of the road.
Love it.
Nothing. It's just a big block party from bar to bar to bar.
Maybe that should be K Road. Like, just
Yeah.
close it on the weekends.
That'd be fantastic. wouldn't it?
Yeah. I can only imagine the trouble.
Remember they used to have boobs on bikes?
Yeah.
I thought, what if we did hooters on scooters?
I really wouldn't mind that. That wouldn't be too bad.
What about dicks on bricks? No, that doesn't work. Okay.
What do you
sorry.
want a brick?
That sounds painful.
That does sound painful. That's
Yeah.
not something I want
Oh,
to
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
that's bricks on dicks.
Okay. So you had it backwards. Yeah.
Anyway, what were you saying?
I've lost my train of thought now. Oh, no, you just got back from a little trip to Australia. I was wondering, what's your comparison, Australians to Kiwis? A lot of
Ooh.
people think we're very much the same, but my experience is we're not.
I would say that Kiwis are definitely a lot more laid back.
Yeah.
Definitely got a more laid back personality.
Oh, yeah.
Even in the city. No, but it's funny because like you walk down Queen Street, and everyone's just really casual, like dressed casually, really laid back. And then you go into Sydney, and most of like your local Australians are dressed to the nines, suits, like very very
wish we
proper,
did
very
step a bit
like
more,
very
though.
business oriented.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big city thing. The bigger the city, the more people kind of dress up, try to compete.
Yeah. Yeah, we run into the same thing in Dallas. Dallas is actually really funny if you compare Dallas and Fort Worth. Like, so we have a little rivalry. Compare your rivalry with Kiwis with Australians. Y'all have that little rivalry.
There's no rival. We're much better.
Okay, fair enough. So it's kind of the same thing with Dallas and Fort Worth. Dallas is a very, very proper place. Like you can't wear. Some places won't even let you wear tennis shoes in the bars. Now Fort Worth's still a big city, but it's just a very, very country city. And I love it. We could walk around downtown with a beer in our hand. So I mean, who wouldn't want to live there?
What I want to know is like, how small does the town have to get till you have to start saying hi to everybody?
Hamilton,
Hamilton, you say hi to everybody?
just text them.
Because you can't do it in Auckland. You'd be busy all day. K Road, you can't be like, hi.
No, it's hilarious because I love that you said that because Fort Worth, you'd be walking, like I said, Fort Worth's still a pretty good sized city, and you just look at like, we were driving down the road one day and we just saw this guy. And we were like, "Hey, buddy boy, how you doing?" He goes like, "Hey, how you doing?" He raised his hand up and like waving at us. We're like, I look at my buddy. I was like, "Who was that?" He goes, "I have no idea. He just looked like a good old boy." And
He
but
was.
Fort Worth, like it's just back home. It's like, yeah, you say hi, people say hi back. It's pretty, both for the most part, pretty nice, pretty respectful.
Do you know what the eyebrow high is? I think it's a Kiwi thing.
It's the East Coast wave.
Just East Coast wave, yeah.
Oh, yeah. If you like, even without my cowboy hat on, you like, it's so funny. I'll lock eyes with people on the road. I do that. I do the little nod, and then whenever I have my hat on, the nod goes from going like upwards because usually I go like, hey, the upward one. And when I'm walking with my cowboy hat, I always tip it and I go down.
I think that's cool.
And it's completely
It's cool.
reversed. And
There's a thing though that if you know somebody well, you lift your head up in that kind of East Coast wave. And if you don't really know them well, but you respect them, you do like a little down thing. But with the cowboy, you're saying you always do the down thing. You're always...
It's usually, like just like a little nod, or six to see me like all the time, tip my hat, ma'am, sir, or the most common, buddy boy, and that can be used in two different ways. Yeah, it can be really nice. You can be like, hey, buddy boy, how you doing? Or if somebody pisses you off, you're like, you better watch yourself, buddy boy.
Just on that though, my friend is dating someone from the States, and they're them, and they're like, oh, I can sir or ma'am, and then they figured out I should just say yes'm, non-gendered.
Yeah, yeah. That is one of the other terms. Another one we get, and this usually comes out more when I'm drinking, but I always say sweetheart or darling, and I think that's another thing.
Do Kiwis have you noticed any strange habits that Kiwis have?
Say mate or what's another
Bro,
yeah,
Sweet.
cheer, bro.
Cheers, bro. Yeah, brother. Things like that. Those are just certain things that we don't say.
But you guys say dude, right?
Oh God, when I was younger.
Oh yeah, I still say dude. I think.
Yeah, it slips out every once in a while.
Right.
Yeah, but no, for the most part, it's or you know what? Something I couldn't wrap my head around is like when everyone was like, "Oh, you mad cunt," or like something.
Mad
if
cunt.
I say I still refer to it as a C word. If
Yeah.
I say the C word in the States, I'm getting slapped in the face. Like,
Really?
like it's an insult.
Yeah, well, it is an insult, and it's a pretty serious insult. But I think Kiwis, we're one of the nations that can use it as, oh, that's a good cunt. He's a good cunt.
Yeah.
Personally, I've never met one I didn't enjoy.
Why is it so offensive?
It's just always been a very negative, nasty word to basically.
It just sounds vile, eh?
Yeah, it's more, and it's more towards women back home.
Yeah,
like,
okay, it's misogynistic.
It's misogynistic. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. And if you really just like you're getting into a heated argument with a female back home, and you say that word, there is no chance that you're probably not going to get hit.
Wow. Yeah.
And
What
there's
about bitch?
Depends on the context.
Wait, can you say cunt on a podcast?
Well, maybe
it is.
here in New Zealand.
You have to bleep it. Oh, right. It won't play in the States or Canada, would it?
It would. Well, maybe in Canada. Maybe Canada. I've heard it used in Canada a couple of times.
Well, that's the internet censorship is under huge debate at the moment. So, listeners, if you're offended by our term used, please respond. Let us know how you feel about that. Let us know how you feel about the word. Can we say it?
Just say the C word.
The C word.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we already said it a bunch, but I guess I'm bleeping
I know,
it.
but it's kind of like it's tired now.
Yeah.
It's like a old joke now.
Yeah. But I would say that is, something that I've definitely picked up on is that's a very common terminology here. And it's just, for me, like, I tried to say it. Like, I try. I try really hard, like, especially with my friends in Australia, because I think Australians say it more than, New Zealanders.
Right.
Oh, Australians are crass.
And it's so funny because like I'll try really hard to be like, oh, like you back up, and I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I can't do it. It just like,
what do you say? No, what do you say in Texas?
For like, if somebody's doing something cool or something, I'm like, oh yeah, buddy boy.
Oh, buddy boy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
There's a couple more out there. I could just try to get. Yeah, I think buddy boy is probably the most common one.
I remember when I was in Australia and I was calling out to my mates and I was like, "Oh, bro," and he's like, "What the fuck did you call me?"
Yeah.
And it's like, "Don't know me, don't bro me."
Don't know me, don't bro.
I got one of those when I first came back from Australia, and I'm sure you've heard the term rednecks. And I went up to, like, we're sitting there like all about to grab like some food. We had set out all the food and everything, and I was like, "Hey mate, how you going?" And I'd only been back for like a week, so like I was still saying mate all the time. And he looks at me and he goes, like, "What the fuck did you call me?"
Sexual mate.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm not your mate." And like, he almost got into it. And I had to explain to him like, "Hey, I'm sorry. Like, I just came back."
Are you hitting on me?
Yeah, and he just looked at me with the dirtiest look. He's like, "What the hell would you call me?" And I'm like,
I'm not your mate, buddy boy.
I ain't your mate, cowboy.
Yeah, when I explained to him, I was like, "Listen, I've been living in Australia for 2 years." I was like, this is just what we say. And he was like, "I don't give a shit."
Do you think there's any misconceptions about Texans that people have?
Yes. No, we do not all carry guns.
Do you have a gun?
Yes. I have a lot. I have quite a few. But I do not carry one on me everywhere I go.
Right.
I will be, I could personally say, ever since the state of Texas has opened up open carry happened right before COVID. I have personally seen 2 guys ever have a gun on their head, and they're probably in their late 50s, early 60s. Yeah, 2 people I've personally seen. Now I can't say that a lot of people don't have them in their waistbands, and it's legal. You don't have to be licensed. Me personally, I am licensed.
You don't have to be licensed.
You do not have to be licensed now.
Wow.
If you're over the age of 18, you can carry. I personally took the license just to protect myself, learn the law a little bit better, and not to mention from a legal standpoint,
Yeah.
God forbid if you ever did have to use your firearm, it's in your benefit to be licensed and, be in control, basically. But, yeah, that was a very common misconception. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you got your guns." I'm like, well, Yeah, we do. There's a lot of guns there, but they're not just willy-nilly walking down the street with them. And it's highly regulated in the aspect of, like, you have one beer. So we have I don't know how it works in New Zealand, but, like, you can have a certain amount of drinks.
Yeah, like one before you drive.
Yeah, so we have a breath.
It's not advised, though.
We have breath tests, so 0.85, which for me, somebody my size is not that big. 2 beers, I'll probably be over that legal limit. Say they
To carry a gun.
Yeah, say they with firearms. If you're licensed, if you're not licensed, you can't do it at all. But if you are licensed, you can maybe have a beer or two before you get to put your gun away. If you're caught with a firearm at that point, it's a felony.
Wow.
And they will take all your guns, and you will not be able to legally purchase one again.
Yeah, what does that mean? In USA, I always hear felony. I don't hear that word in New Zealand.
So we have misdemeanors, we have felonies. So let's say you're drunk at a bar, and we have what's called a public intoxication ticket. That's a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor.
So a misdemeanor is something that's not going to wind you up in court. It's something you get.
You go to court, but you basically go to court, pay a fine.
Whereas a felony will put you behind bars.
Pretty much. Possibly. Depends on the kind of felony. Yeah.
You're in big shit.
Yeah. And that's... So, yeah, it just really depends on what you did. Truth is... It's like,
or didn't do.
Truth is, if you have a firearm, you know you're going out drinking, leave it at home.
Don't you feel safer, though, on K Road knowing that nobody has a firearm on them?
Dude, it weirds me out that the cops don't carry.
Right.
Because back home...
our cops aren't smart enough to be trusted with firearms.
Yeah, back home we have 7th Street in Fort Worth, which is like kind of like 6th Street. It's kind of like K Road. Not as wild. It's just a big college party town because that's where TCU, Texas Christian University, is. But you can't look and not see a cop on every single... like every 20, 30 meters.
Just standing there.
Yeah, and everyone's carrying. And there's not really a lot of trouble out there because everyone's like, oh, crap, we're going to get...
Because there's heaps of fucking cops.
Yeah, there's heaps of cops. And we're here on K Road, and you can go all night long and not see one officer.
The cars are often undercover, too.
Yeah. And that was one thing about K Road that kind of weirded me out. I was like... Where are all the cops?
Yeah. Who's going to shoot me?
Yeah. And then you see the cops, you're like, where are the guns?
Yeah. I could just run away.
But that's coming from my,
Yeah.
That's coming from me. Like, it's kind of like, for me, it was weird. But whenever I talk to anybody from New Zealand, they're like, oh, no, that's normal. They never had to, we don't think the violence here.
They do have guns, but they're locked in their car.
Yeah, not allowed to carry them. It's probably a good thing, to be honest.
Hey, look, I think we're probably good for time. Before we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, I'd like to say thank you for having me on the podcast today.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to spending more time on K Road. I definitely invite anybody that listens to the podcast to come check it out. It is amazing, like I said, amazing people, amazing culture. Definitely stop into Family or Saloon Bar. Go and grab a beer. I'll be behind the counter. And any questions you might have for me after this, you could come ask me at the bar.
Cool.
Hey, look, Tex, that's awesome. Just a quick word. Thanks to our sponsors, Saloon Bar, The White Lady, Archo's Restaurant, and many others. But we survive on the kindness of strangers. So if you do like the podcast, you do like the work we're doing, please help us out on the Patreon account. And stay tuned next Tuesday for another exciting installment of the K Road Chronicle. Okay. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks, buddy boy.
Thank you, buddy boy.